how far are you supposed to push yourself in the effort to become attractive to the opposite sex? It's a really difficult question. You don't want to make someone fall in love with you for something that you're not. And this is for guys and girls. So a good question to ask yourself is, am I the sort of person that the sort of person I'm attracted to would be attracted to?
Yeah.
What's the sort of person that I want to get? If I really, really, really love guys that go to the gym, but I'm a chick that has never been to the gym, you got to go to the gym.
Yeah, so this is something very common that we always talk about, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And our advice is you have to have yourself what you expect from the other person.
Absolutely.
Of course, I 100% agree with him. If you want someone who is fit, then you can't just be a couch potato, sit around. I think that's pretty clear.
Definitely.
But maybe let's address what we're talking about in the beginning of like, where is, the boundary of, oh, I'm doing all this work and what does the other person do? Do you think like there has to be always a balance of, oh, I invest 50%, she invests 50%?
No, and I also don't think it has to be a tit for tat equal thing. Like if this woman is somebody who likes to be extroverted in a certain way, for example, and I like an extroverted woman, okay, I see that as confident. You don't need to become necessarily an extroverted person. You could still be an introvert who is social. I think it's about the value. If you want somebody who is ambitious in a certain way, you don't have to be ambitious in the exact same way that they are. Yeah. Right? You don't have to follow the same pursuits or have the same ideal of lifestyle.
Like if your partner is, let's say, a really successful entrepreneur or so.
Yes.
And like, let's say she goes to all kinds of events in the evening all the time because she has to kind of for networking, for a job, whatever.
Yes.
Like you don't have to be the person who comes along for all these things all the time and enjoys the same thing.
That's a perfect analogy.
But I would say you have to be the kind of person who is cool with her going there.
Yes.
Like you have to accept the downside of her ambition.
You have to allow that freedom. And I think it also takes a lot of courage on the other person to not hold that against the other person. Like if she's like, hey, he wants to be ambitious by building his business doing e-commerce online and not want to be networking, it can't be like that's less. Like we're both ambitious, but we both have to accept that we reach it in the different ways.
Exactly. Now, I happen to think that is really hard on a lot of celebrities, for example, like especially musicians, touring people, like people who are always on the road, always traveling, athletes, same thing. Like they often have a partner who is attracted to them because like, they're hot, they're popular and so on. Like they have money and all these things. But then a lot of people never ask themselves like, what is the downside of all that? I myself, I know I couldn't date someone who is on tour 250 days a year.
Yeah, me neither.
I think that a lot of people should ask themselves a bit more about, can I deal with the not so wanted consequences of being with that person? And, the other side of the medal of ambition, the other side of the medal of someone who is super social.
Yeah, and do I want to have to also be that person myself or live up to that? I mean, you can't tour yourself. I think part of the argument there is like, why do we want the qualities that we want? Like sometimes like, you're like, oh, I want somebody who's super famous. But like, why do you want that value so bad when it's going to make everything else in your life probably a lot more challenging?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Is it a value you truly want, or are you chasing ego, approval from society and your friends? Because I think, to be honest, like, for example, of course you want a rich partner. Like most people want not a rich partner, but a stable partner who makes a lot of money. I think not many people actually want like the person who's like working 250 days of the year away.
I think so too.
I think it's probably less than 5% of people actually enjoy their partner being gone that much.
Yeah, at that point, the question is, what is even a partnership for you?
Exactly.
If you never see the other person.
So work hard for what you want, but also be open to it being different than you. And then also question, like, what are you willing to sacrifice? And are you really chasing the right things that you want?